You
are now.
No, that's the other show. You
are now.
Kill
me.
This is Kasia.
And this is Eugene.
Film reviews for Reprobates. Yeah. Presumably, you are the Reprobates. Oh, we are all reprobates.
What do you mean? Presumably.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And the film this week.
Why are you always putting me in this position? I don't remember the title. Heaven knows what?
Yep, heaven knows what. And it's another Safdie. Now, just to give you a little bit of history, the Safdie brothers, Joshua and I can't remember the other cat's name. We had no idea who these guys were. Like
Ben.
Ben and Joshua. We had no idea. I was confusing. There's a guy I do jiu-jitsu with who's named Daniel McSafdie. I wonder if he's related. But 2 months ago, we had no idea who these guys were. And then on an international flight back from some touring, it was one of those like scraping the bottom of the barrel fucking movie picks because the movie had a terrible title called Good Time. I was like, oh my God, this is a great freaking movie. One of the past shows we reviewed it. Sorry. That's a kind of glare.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you?
I would need to see what I was writing. So we reviewed it, and it was like, we got to see more of their stuff. And one of yous recommended to us that we should see.
Thank you.
Yeah, heaven knows what. And we did.
We did. Well, heaven knows what is one of those stories that they just don't make you feel better.
Which, in my mind, makes it a feel-good hit of the year. In this instance, it was...
In Eugene's world.
In Eugene's world, I like when you're unhappy. So it was 2014 that the movie came out.
Yes, and it's a true story. I've heard rumors that the woman she wrote the book, or she just told the story.
No, see, I think the one who starred in the role wrote the book.
Yeah, she actually played herself. The names were different. Her real name is Ariel Holmes, and in the movie her name was Harley. But I've heard that Safdie Brothers just saw her like begging for money on the streets, and they're like, "Hey, we want to make a movie about you," and she was like, "Okay."
Well, which is in the tradition of Larry Clark, the best way to get, or we could go back even beyond Larry Clark. I mean, Pier Pasolini used to use street kids for his movies because of verisimilitude. They just made it more real, and whoever knows what other kind of kink Pasolini had. But or we could even go back to the 20s and the 30s when they wanted the dead end kids, and so they went down to the Lower East Side and got real dead end kids. And these guys, East Side Comedy, the Bowery Boys, Lee Hunt, Hunt Hall, Leo Gorcey, they were really like that. And they made a movie with Jimmy Cagney, and he had to punch him in the stomach to get him to fucking play along because he was also from there. So a lot of times, do you want the fake Hollywood thing or the real street thing? And that's how they got her. And apparently her book and the screenplay and her starring in the movie.
Yes. And the movie is about heroin addicts and like their everyday life and...
in the coterie of films about junkies, we've got Christiana F., which was Bowie's take on German teen junkies. We've got Larry Clark, which is not specifically about junkies. We've got Panic in Needle Park with Al Pacino, which was 70s, just getting back from Vietnam, kind of Upper West Side junkies. And so we've got a whole subgenre of junkie movies.
Yeah.
If you got Lenny Bruce with Dustin Hoffman, if you consider that to be a junkie movie, there's a whole lot of them.
Of course. And then, but the difference is that Wir Kinder auf Bahnhof Zoo, Christiane F. movie or book, each time when somebody was reading the book, they were like, oh, it has to be so cool, excuse me, to be a junkie. And the movie was all like hyped up and was like kind of actually like a heroin chic, glamour, wildlife. You're 13, you're a junkie, you're sucking cock for money. Excellent. What a life.
I'm the world's worst life coach. Don't listen to me. Well, they romanticized it. That's
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that was like a long story short.
I got lost in
romanticized it.
I got lost in the details.
Okay. Well.
Start thinking about things.
So, heaven knows what, where, what? Heaven knows. That is a fucking title. Heaven knows what.
It's pretty clear the Safdies need help with their titles.
Yeah.
Because between Good Time and Heaven Knows What, you know, bro, come to me. I named all the Oxbow records. Okay, I can do this.
Yeah, ask Eugene. Like, really, he will help you, or even me.
For gratis.
Probably my title will be better than yours. This is like the only like weak part of your movies, the titles.
Seriously, it's a big deal.
So Heaven Knows What is not romanticized at all. We can pretty much like we're just like kind of voyeur in a junkie life. So we're kind of following Ariel or whatever her name is, Harley, and she's like begging for money, and she's having sex in the middle of the street, and she's in love with Ilya, her boyfriend, who got angry with her because she was fucking around with other junkies, and pretty much the beginning of the movie, she's like trying to get him back, and he's like, no, I don't want to see you anymore, and she says, if I'm gonna commit suicide, will you forgive me? And he was like, yeah, sure. So she's like grabbing a bunch of razors and she's cutting her veins and getting her to the hospital, and that's pretty much the beginning of the movie. And then it's going on, and she's trying Ilya to love her again, and Ilya is an asshole, and then she's meeting other junkies and a dealer, and it's just going and going, but it sounds like not an interesting story at all. And yet, the movie was quite interesting.
Well, and also, the pitfalls of making a movie like this is that you either do what Kasia was suggesting they did with Christiana F., romanticize it, or you do the other thing, the tendency is to moralize it, where you have to be like we rewatched The Departed last night, and it's like, man, that movie was great except for the last 13 seconds.
Yeah.
With that rat running across the balcony. I didn't need that. Scorsese, come on. And of course, you can't tell him anything because he won the award for that movie, but I didn't need the rat on the fucking balcony. I got it.
I'm sorry, I'm You can smell it.
All of a sudden, the ratings go up. Yeah,
I just came back from training and I smell
it. You can't smell it, so it's all right. So in this one, you know, you got it's the tightrope act is to depict the lives of junkies. As for example, if I wanted to do a play about junkies with junkies, it would just be a junkie play, right? I'm trying to make a distinction here. Maybe it's a distinction without a difference, but the deal is, this is a movie about junkies, and that's all it has to be. It doesn't have. We're no longer making movies in the 30s and the 40s where there has to be a prevailing moral lesson, or like the guy said about the Black Flag record. I find it a very anti-parent. As a parent, I find it a very anti-parent record. That's not part of the calculation. It's a movie about people who are living in the streets in New York, who you see with cardboard signs begging for cash in pretty much any urban setting, who it drills down into their lives. And that's all it is.
And you know, they're not moralizing, but when you see that movie, you're like, fuck that shit. I don't want that. I don't want to be a junkie. It sucks.
Yeah, they got a lot of free time. They don't have any worries in the world. Except, I mean, that's why people become junkies, because their entire existence gets winnowed down to like this one thing. I think the thing that, you know, the anti-romantic aspect of it was, you know, maybe you could do that for a weekend, but having that be your lifestyle for as far back as you could see and as far forward as you could see, you would have to be a junkie to want to be a junkie, because there's no other way you could fucking endure the stultifying sameness of it all. You couldn't do it. And the reality of it is, too, what I liked about the movie is they didn't give us, there was no causal connection between shitty home lives. There was no causal connection between abusive past. We drop in on the people who are having a fucked up relationship. And if you had a fucked up relationship, you get it right away. So right away, you're empathizing, sympathizing with the characters to a certain degree, even though they're distinctly unsympathetic characters, you know. So that was a tightrope act that I think they pulled off.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that the performances were probably some of the better performances you're going to get because, well, then you have to say, well, is this really acting? You know,
it really didn't look like acting.
Yeah.
That was that was great actually, and she was in an interesting position of playing herself.
Right.
So it's hard to tell if she was good or not. But
this is the thing: is it art, right? Okay, well, you know what? It may not be acting if they're on the streets, but as soon as the camera's set up, it's art, and therefore it's acting. So I'd have to say I'm perfectly okay saying that these actors, though they may be doing the same thing as we speak,
yep.
4 years later, they may be doing the same thing on the streets. I don't know. That's what they may be doing. But in this context, when that guy says speed, action, rolling, they're fucking acting. They're great actors. I thought the performances were solid, and
using his broken health.
Yeah, I gotta reset my my
masturbate.
Yeah, my masturbate. And so the writing was good, the performances were good, the story itself was good, the story arc of it, and they did something really special, which was also common to Pasolini, and that was that at any point where you start to fall into what you feel is a Hollywood trope, they undercut it. Yep. Right? So like characters that you find sympathetic, slightly sympathetic, of course, like in real life, everybody I know who's died from fucking junk, they were great people. I liked them. You know, David Skilkin, Leon from Anti-Warfare, most of these were punk rock kids, all dead from heroin. I miss these guys. I liked them. They were nice people. And so, but this movie, true to that, just, you know, I'm not going to give you anything that makes you feel good about it, which in my mind, like I said, makes it a feel good hit.
Which I mentioned like at the beginning, right? Yeah. Yeah, most junkies I know are great people too. So it's a sad thing.
Maybe, but I mean, they make no causal connection between the lack of moralism means that they're not indicating there's no rat on the balcony in this movie. We want you to feel sad about this. It doesn't exist.
No, people are dying. People are not dying. People are just like running in circles pretty much in the same fucking environment with the same junkies. It's lame and fucking gross, and you know what can you do?
Yep.
You're gonna run in the circle as long as you not do something about it.
Well, it was also,
and of course, to do something about it, you need a lot of strength and some kind of support, which you won't get in a junkie environment. So, heaven knows what.
Also, it was Lynchian, David Lynchian, in the way that, you know, it was filmed in New York, or at least it appeared to be filmed in New York.
It was in New York.
It was in New York, and so there are very many scenes where you see the normal flow of a New York City street. And then, you know, like Lynch came of age in America where there was a surface America as either depicted on TV with Ozzie and Harriet or in actual suburban neighborhoods. And then there was an undercurrent of things that happened at the same time in the same place, but you didn't have eyes to see. And I used to go down to Maryland for the summers, and I realized that was largely the case in a lot of places where if you went down the street that I lived in Maryland, it was perfect suburban normality. But then there were, unbeknownst to the parents, there were hippies, there were greasers, there were serial killers out by Wheaton Plaza. That's where George Wallace got shot. Okay. There were people all in the same place. All in the same place. And this is the same kind of thing. Like every now and then.
Pod.
Right. The camera kind of pulls back.
And crime.
And you can see other people in the city doing city things. And they're on the streets with him. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like the homeless people I see with signs. This is probably a peek into their fucking lives, you know. Which, if that was the case, surprised me that we didn't see any acts of prostitution, because that I think was part. But I think, and I also agree that shit is distracting.
Yeah.
And if I was a filmmaker, I would say that, you know what, everybody gets it. We don't have to spend even a minute with this close-set shit. And maybe that wasn't part of her reality that she was willing to cop to.
Yeah. Well, she was like, what, 19? So.
Yeah, all the junkies I know, they have admitted things to me. They've robbed stores. They've mugged people, stolen shit, broken into cars. Not a single one has ever copped to screwing for junk. Though I know they screwed for junk. It's just easier than robbing a fucking grocery store, right? So, but it's distracting and takes away because all of a sudden you say something sexy and people start to, they just get that.
Yeah, there was like a one sex scene that was actually pretty great because it was happening in the middle of the sidewalk and people were just like walking by and they were just fucking.
Yeah.
Like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Which can happen in New York City.
Which can happen to everybody.
Yep. I remember a guy,
right?
a 300-pound biker, standing in the middle of the sidewalk, urinating. The tiniest, be it a micro penis, urinating just there, and people just kind of casually walking around.
Yeah, but urinating is a little bit different from having sex.
Yeah.
In the middle of the sidewalk of New York.
Yeah, yeah. I'm amazed they weren't stopped. You know, people feel free to comment.
People don't want to be
involved. Or join in.
Yeah, that would be Eugene Robinson's scenario.
Hey, this is a family show.
Oh yeah. By the way, hi Evelina and Inga and Gregory.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a sound movie. I don't know if we saw it on iTunes or whether we saw it on Netflix or where we found it, but it is findable, YouTube or whatever. And I feel comfortable enough, before we even rate it, to recommend it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If you want to have a junkie film weekend, you could take Panic in Needle Park, Heaven Knows What, and those are probably the best two junkie flicks I've ever seen.
Yeah, Panic in the Needle Park is pretty. Well, you know, also, what's the Christiana F is actually the.
I'd have to re-see that because I don't remember.
I liked it. I like that movie.
Being very impressive.
I mean, there's a lot of good music in it,
Yeah,
and you can actually feel the Berlin,
East Berlin, vibe. That shit. Yeah, West Berlin when it was East and West Germany. It's good for that.
Yeah, it's a cool movie, like, you know.
But as a junkie movie, would you?
I mean, it's a little bit. Because it was written by a young person and it was happening, so you know, I think that it was probably they probably filmed it from a perspective of her, like from her perspective. So it was kind of cool to, like, you know, to do all that shit. It's like they're running around the streets and they riding in the elevators and they're like group of people and friends and you know.
Right. So it was more of it's a coming of age story.
Yeah.
Why do you think that somehow heroin has become like not an ennobling drug, but what heroin has become a theatrical drug of note? Like they don't make movies about people who are addicted to cough syrup, right? Or people who you know, I don't know. Like, well, they do cocaine movies. Less Than Zero was a cocaine movie. Some might even say Scarface was kind of a cocaine movie.
Kind of.
Well, they don't have really LSD.
What about Pulp Fiction?
That was a heroin movie.
Yeah, actually, they were taking heroin.
But that had a lot of stuff happening. So I don't know why. I think because even though the most dangerous recreational drug is cocaine, I think people still associate heroin with death, and especially now they started cutting it with fucking fentanyl and people are actually dying.
Yeah, and
people, by which I mean specifically, lots of white folks are dying. So now it's a deal.
Now it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem.
So no, I think heroin, people on heroin are just nicer than people on cocaine. You know.
It's true. We're gonna open up a dispensary. You know, there's a great dispensary in San Francisco, like all over for.
We mentioned that before.
Now they've legalized the kind of weed, you know, 420 stuff. So we decided that we're going to open up one for crystal meth because it would be completely hilarious, a dispensary. Because, you know, you go into dispensaries now for weed and they've got nice jazzy music playing and nice polished wood. And it's
everybody's like, yeah, man,
you know, nice. And they're all happy to be there. But a crystal meth dispensary would just be like great. It would be like motorcycles taken apart in half, put together. TVs on the table and end up.
And all those discussions started like 100 at once and never finished.
I mean, 2000, man. I mean, they've been guilty for 2,000 years since they killed Christ. I don't feel guilty about anything. That's it. And then they wander out the side entrance, leaving the cash register open. And the guy who owns it's like, I don't understand my profit. I'm not making any money here. The comedic potential is great.
Yeah, I think that crystal meth dispensary is our career path.
Yeah, but I keep mentioning it here because I want to be able to refer to this when somebody steals the idea. so we can sue them. We went on record first.
Why let anybody steal it when we can just do it? Let's do it.
I'm going to write the mayor's office.
Yes, do it. I mean, I think the city of Palo Alto is going to be delighted.
Okay, so let's do our ranking.
It's really hard to rate that movie, but I think I know. Like, you know.
Okay, let me get my fingers. You got such a janky setup. The computer.
It's your choice. Like,
it's
I
on a
told
box.
you, it's your choice.
Okay.
All
right, ready?
We can do it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ding. What is that? 7. I got 7 too.
Oh wow! Hey.
Hey. There we go. So we're giving this movie a 7. If you liked it so much, you know, why not? Look, if it was a jungle zombie flick, I wouldn't give it a 10, even if it was the greatest jungle zombie flick ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the likelihood of me giving a junkie movie a 10 is very low, but it was a great junkie movie.
Yes.
But they just don't, you know, I got to consider Citizen Kane or Joseph Lucy's The Servant. I can't put them in the same
we have
class.
our standards.
We got standards. So, but
not in the eyes and not on the shoes. Oh, wait a minute. It's not that show.
We're still going to get to that. So keep making the recommendations. Andrew, what's that guy? What's that guy's name? Night Dreams?
Oh, God. Like, why? I don't remember. It's my favorite.
I can never remember his last name. I used to have the video.
Let me Google it.
Okay, Night Dreams before we sign off. So at some point, we're going to do a segment on 70s porn, old porn. Since it's so distinctly different from new porn that it actually has plots and filmed on film and set design. And, you know, if you talk about Jerry Damiano, forget about...
Actually, it's Francis Delia.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So I'm thinking about...
Yeah, that's...
No, what's his... He's got a stage name, Andrew something. I'll figure it out. It was Andrew somebody. The dead guy told me about it. But anyway, we'll do it later. So that's the end of the show.
Yes.
Go see if you feel in the mood for doing. If this is going to trigger you, do not let it trigger you.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of my friends, they can't. They're like, I got it. If it's going to trigger you, don't watch it. But otherwise, if you're in the mood for some junkie, New York junkie teen films, this is, in my mind, it's better and less diffused than Larry Clark's Kids. And I don't hear creepy stuff about Safdie like I heard about Clark. Anyway.
Happy Pride, by the way.
That's right. Hey, yeah. Happy Pride. We would have gone to parades, but I was too busy trying to run up the hill and kill myself in 100-degree heat.
Yeah, I was like running up and down the pole and then spinning on the hammock.
And dizzy from the illness and...
I'm also recovering from food poisoning.
It's not food poisoning.
Well, theoretically.
It's also ulcerative colitis or some such thing. We don't know yet. We're getting tests. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Make your recommendations because who knows what we're gonna watch. And click below, thumbs up. I give thumbs up. Click it below. Tell your friends about it, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.